I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Joining me today is Talmadge Rodger Varnado III. Indubitably, always just a pleasure to have you here. We're shooting this a bit early, but if you're seeing this on the week that I release it, Happy New Year's, even though Larry David would have an opinion about that, I'm quite sure. But we'll be releasing this the week of New Year's. You may see it on New Year's Day. Going to be talking about the concept of new. And I think from the time we're little kids, I don't know if we're necessarily geared this way in terms of naturally or if it's just that we're geared this way by society. Okay. But it seems like we're drawn to something new. It's probably inherently natural, and then we also learn it. But think about from the time we're young. Of course, when we're young kids, everything's new. New sights and new sounds, and you learn to walk, and that's new. But then every Christmas, you get new toys. You're excited. There's the whole idea of, I'm going to throw this stuff aside. You loved that last week. Yeah, but now look what I've got. And your new toy becomes your whole focus. And even as we get older, I mean, a new movie, a new song, and the smell of the inside of a new car. Something about experiencing something new, especially when it's something you didn't expect, does something to us. Even if you don't quite embrace it, even if you see something new and you're like, I didn't care about that, you're still drawn to it.
Happens to me a lot.
Talmadge is easily disappointed, or does it just take a whole lot to get you excited? Maybe a little bit of both.
I don't know. Never thought about it.
Yeah, me neither till just now. Something to explore, perhaps. But yeah, I think that curiosity is what drives a lot of people to have what we call New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk a little bit about that. You may notice that Talmadge and I are wearing matching shirts, which is also something new. I don't think we've worn matching shirts on the same episode. Talmadge, you want to tell the audience where we got these shirts and why we have them?
We got these the Sunday of October 26th, which was the date of my baptism.
Correct. We were given these by our church, Cross Church in North Richland Hills, Texas, the day that Talmadge was baptized. He got one for being baptized. I got one because I had the privilege of baptizing him. So we got these shirts that day, and that was a new experience. That was his first time being baptized, my first time baptizing someone. No one had ever asked me, hey, do you want to baptize this person? So when our pastor, Scott Mays, asked me that, I was like, yes, that sounds amazing. Hadn't thought about that as a possibility until he asked me. So
I wasn't too sure about it. I thought that would drown me, but other than that.
You're like, has Jared secretly been waiting to hold my head underwater?
We've known each
for
other
16
a long
years?
time, right?
Like, is he harboring something I don't know about? And here's where he finally gets his vengeance. I remember after we walked out of the baptismal, do you remember the first thing you said to me when we went back to change?
No, what was it?
You looked at me, you said, well, I didn't mess it up.
Oh, yeah. It honestly was a bit of a fear because, again, it was new. Anything new that you've never done, there is some anxiety. There is some thought of, okay, am I going to do this right? Is this going to go wrong? It was never, am I making the right decision? I was very confident in that. But it's still a process that you've got to go through. And what if I mess it up? And I got all these people watching and I don't know.
All sanctuary staring at us. I wasn't concerned about anything, but I felt like if anybody's got pressure, it's me. What if I drop you? What if my hand slips? What if our feet slip?
In retrospect, I'm glad you looked at it that way. Okay.
I wasn't worried, but I did ask Daniel Simmons, the lead student minister, right before we went in. I said, Daniel, what's the footing like? Because he's baptized
people. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I had never stepped in that baptistry. I got baptized at a different church in Kentucky when I was 7 years old. So I said, Daniel, what's the footing like in here? Yeah. How
because we thought about being slippery.
Yeah, I said, what's the best way for me to, do I need to position my legs a certain way? And once we got in there, it was fine. But there was, I wouldn't say concern, but there was some thought of,
because you
let's
hadn't
make
done
sure
it.
we don't
Again,
slip.
if it wasn't new to you, you would have done it
robotically
and it never would have crossed your mind.
Yep, that's very, very true. So when something new happens, you always have to adjust or you're getting an experience you hadn't had before. So that's kind of, I think draws a lot of people to be excited about a new year. I'll elaborate a little bit on these shirts. It says "Meet the New Me," and there's a verse I'll read for us real quick.
Okay.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new is here. The old is gone. Let me back up a little bit. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone. The new is here. And it's kind of what we talked about in the baptism is you're a new creation in Christ. The Bible tells us right here, the Apostle Paul, through the influence of God, wrote this passage to the church in Corinth at the time. Once you've come to Christ, you are a new creation. Jesus in John chapter 3 talks about being born again. You're born again in Christ. You're a new creation in Christ. So Talmadge, going into looking at this being a new year, we did an episode where we talked about this will be your first Christmas since becoming a new creation in Christ.
Which hopefully they saw last week.
Which hopefully y'all watched that, last week. If you didn't, you can always go back and check it out now or after you finish this one.
Right.
Maybe not pause this one and go to that one, although you can still do that if you want to come back to this one. You got all kinds of options.
I opened up a big can of worms there.
Yes, well, but people need to be informed that they have options. That was a new thing to experience too. You can pause and go watch and come back. It just never stops. I get new ideas all the time. But since coming to know Christ this past July, how has that altered the way that you're looking at starting a new year?
I don't know, honestly, if the new year has any significance. Mm-hmm. Because from July until now, it's been new.
Right.
And then I think that will continue as I strengthen my relationship with Jesus and with God. But I don't look at the new year with any... one thing I will say is this. I look to it probably with more optimism than I have in the past. Because it's different when you have, Jesus and God in your life. And I've felt this protection that I've never felt before. I still go through ups and downs like everybody else. Still make mistakes, still sin, still do all those things. But now I know, if I believe it in my heart and I confess it and I work through it and I work to get better as a person, then obviously I'm in a better position than I ever have been before because I have the ultimate weapon on my side. So I guess I would say, if anything, I look to it with more positivity, more optimism because your life has changed. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's interesting. And do you typically set New Year's resolutions for yourself? A lot of people, it's like every year, I gotta make these lists of things. Do you do that?
No, I've never done that. I mean, I don't want to say never. I probably did it earlier in my life.
Okay.
But a week into it, I didn't hold it anyway. So it's just like, why do this?
That very reason is one reason I've never really done it, because everybody I know, and you and I'd never even had that conversation, even when we worked together. Yeah. We would sometimes work together on New Year's Eve, and we've never really talked about that. Most people I know that set these things, it'll last a month, maybe. Yeah. So I've never been big on New Year's resolutions. I always am looking to the future and looking for new things and looking for what does God want me doing next. But it doesn't have to be January.
I think that's what I was trying to
in order for me to do that. I'm always looking forward and asking God, like, well, what do you want me to do next? And am I where you want me to be? Am I doing exactly what you want me to do? Mm-hmm. Am I on the path you want me on? What do I need to change, if anything? But I could do that anytime. I do that 12 months of the year.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If the New Year's what spurs someone to do it, or if they need that kind of mental reset, then obviously, that's what it's for. That's why people have resolutions. That's why there is a New Year. So I'm not saying I don't get it, but I don't think it's necessary because, like you say, if you do that every day, especially when you have a relationship with Christ, that alone is your rebirth. That alone is your restart. And you just have to learn to push through.
If God's putting something new in front of you on May the 14th, He doesn't want you to wait till January to discover it necessarily.
But I will say this. I've worked, as you know, I worked for a gym in the past, and we love this time of year.
Oh, I'm quite sure.
Because everybody would get their membership, and then by February they wouldn't show up, and you still got their money.
But you still got their money. So yeah, there are certain businesses, car dealerships capitalize on this. End of the year inventories, and I mean, and like you said, if somebody if it takes the realization of, okay, I'm starting a new year to get people to refocus on accomplishing important goals.
Yes.
Hey, that's awesome. I'm not discrediting or discouraging that. Me personally, because I've seen so many people not stick to it, I don't set what I call New Year's resolutions. Goals and things to focus on all the time. But I get new, as you know, more than most of our audience does, I get new ideas all the time.
Hopefully all your audience, maybe your mom, but other than that,
she might know.
I should know more than all of them.
I'm always praying about new things and praying about where does God want me to be. So it doesn't have to be January. I don't set what is called like resolutions necessarily. And before we wrap up, do you have anything specific that you want to share with the audience about what you're looking for this new year? You talked about just continuing to strengthen your relationship with Jesus, of course, but anything specific beyond that?
Not really. I mean, maybe strengthening the bond with my family a little bit, because if I am making a resolution, I just thought of this, I need to see my parents more often. They live a couple of hours from me, and I see them like once a year, and that's not enough. So that's something that I've even talked to my children about, like, we need to go visit them. We need to, do you want to come, and that kind of thing. So that's important to me, because they're getting up there in age just like I am, and you never know. And so that would be about the only thing. On a personal level. Professionally, just always become better. I'm in a leadership position, so any better way I can think of to lead people, I'm always looking for that. But again, like you mentioned, it doesn't have to be January 1.
Right.
But I will say, again, in that respect, maybe I do have that mental reset, because it is a time to say, okay, this year's over. These are things you need to work on. Let's focus on, let's get it done.
What can I do better in this new work year than I did last year? Yeah. And that's practical. I like that. And I mean, even, not to get too far off, and you and I don't do this, but sports teams, like look at football season. For a lot of teams, the season's over in December, January.
My team was over the first week.
Unfortunately, mine, I don't think it's pretty much over now, too. We're both looking at the draft and looking at next year, free agency and all that for now. But yeah, I would say that's an important reflection. But again, it doesn't have to be. It's just football happens to be. But any end of the season, I think it's important for, even if you win the Super Bowl or whatever,
analyze what you've done.
Analyze what we've done. How can we build on this and be back here next year? So there's a lot to be said for looking ahead and setting goals. But I think it's having that mentality year round and just kind of living by that mentality of, what can I learn from what I've experienced? What can I do to make it better? What could I have done differently? How can I make myself better? How can I help people around me be better? That should be, that's largely my mentality 12 months of the year. But for me, I always push myself more. Like, and did I do enough? Even with that mentality, what more could I be doing, or what could I be doing differently? I may be doing a lot, but is it the most effective? What I'm doing here may be effective for this person. Is it efficient? Is it effective? The way I serve this person may not be the most effective for serving these people. So that I'm constantly kind of not necessarily resetting my mind, but examining what else can I be doing. And really, like I said, my focus is always, and going into a new year, God, am I doing what you want me to do? Am I allowing you to use me to the best that you want me to? Am I being the best that I can to serve you and what you plan for me to do? Yes,
sir.
That's really always where my focus is, and I'll continue to do that. So, all right, thank all of you for stopping by. If you have New Year's resolutions, let us know in the comments. If you don't set resolutions, but you just have something, new goals you want to set that could be any time of the year, let us know. Let us know what your favorite things to do going into the new year is. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. If you did, show that by clicking the enjoy button, or if you can't find it, click the like button. If you have not already done so, do something new and subscribe to the channel. It will help enable me to bring you more of this type of content and many new types as well. So for Talmadge Rodger Varnado III, I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Happy New Year again. Hello, Larry David. Hope y'all have a great week and hope I see you again real soon.